Market day report. Here we are mid-morning now, and let's check in on the corn market. Good place to start. We're lower. December 491 and a quarter. It's down 11 3/4 cents. Double-digit losses across the board here. How about beans? Well, we're seeing deeper losses here. November now near the low of the session, 11.81 3/4. We're down 26 cents. Some of those old crop contracts down nearly 37 cents. Wheat market, soft red, July down 21 3/4, 6.53 3/4. Now that one's trading in a 38-cent trade range. We've got a lot of action in these wheat markets. Hard red, July, 7.03 1/4. It's down 21 1/2. And we have the cotton market down 276 points, 83.70. Welcome to the show, Chip Nellinger, Blue Reef Agri Marketing. Yeah, I hope you weren't expecting green carpet rolled out. It's the red, as in everything's moving lower here, carpet. What's happening?
Yeah, I think that the market isn't taking, what's come out of the China-U.S. trade talks so far very well. In fact, there hasn't been a whole lot. I think the market thinks, maybe rightfully so, that the bulk of the talks have occurred. President Trump's set to leave China tomorrow morning, their time, the middle of the night, our time here. And just a couple-hour meeting scheduled there before they leave. So I think without much talk or news surrounding any actual purchases, the market's very fearful that this thing could take a little bit longer. And I think part of the confusion there were some news stories out that President Trump has extended an invitation to the Chinese president to come to Washington for talks in September. That at the heart of it might be the cue that the market took to say, hey, this thing's going to take a little bit longer. We may not get immediate results with actual quantities of U.S. goods that they're going to buy. It might take until the fall, actually, before we see that. And you can see that the market's not taking that assumption very well here across the commodities sector this morning.
Chip, I'm going to be on thin ice here, and I hope I don't fall through here. They're talking about some big issues right now. One of them being the Strait of Hormuz, but a larger issue there is nuclear weapons in Iran. I mean, we've got some big and bold issues here. Not to say that ag's not important, but could it be that a lot of this is happening? I mean, we've seen the U.S. Trade Representative, Jameson Greer. We've seen Besant there. We've seen others. Is it possible things are happening behind the scenes and ag's just wanting to be maybe right in the front?
Well, I think that's part of it, Tony, to your point. You're talking about the whole ag situation that's, billions versus the entire U.S. economy that China would like access to that's in the trillions. So relatively speaking, the ag portion of that is pretty small. But to your point, there's a lot of other pretty urgent, issues on the list. Iran, Strait of Hormuz, the fentanyl issue, and I'm sure that, China wants to talk about Taiwan and our stance there. And so there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Ag still could be part of this. This sell-off in the ags today, corn, beans, wheat, really hasn't done much technically to change the picture. We're still in uptrends in this. This could be a one-day wonder if we get some better news out of this tomorrow or overnight tonight. But right now, the market's taking the stance that maybe there's not going to be the announcement that we needed on something concrete, actual bushel amounts, and timing of purchases. That might have to come at a later point, Tony.
Yeah, and again, back to the point here that don't get caught just trading in a one-day scenario. Step back, see what's happening. Speaking of stepping back, we'll step back for a moment. We'll look at livestock futures next with Chip Nellinger on Market Day Report. National Beef Month. We need to talk cattle, right? Let's do it. 95 higher front month June at 253.75. And the August is $1.80 higher at 248.27. Again, cash trade this week started 260, has worked to 265. We got that done both in the north and south yesterday. May feeders 227 higher, trades 369.60, and then we're at 363.57 on the August. It's up $2.65. One more here. It's the hog market moving lower. This is a market that now is in the red for the week, for the month, and for the year. Chip Nellinger's with Blue Reef Agri Marketing. National Beef Month, and I guess we celebrate with 265 as a mark. That's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive. That's the one and only thing holding the cattle market up. I'm trying to do my part, Tony. I grilled some burgers last night. Going to put a nice ribeye on the steak tonight. So I'm trying to do my part here on that national beef issue here. But the cash market holding us together, such a choppy market. Earlier in the week, we're going to relax the tariffs for imported beef. And then within hours, no, we're not going to. Here overnight, China's going to relax some of the restrictions on U.S. beef plants. Hours later, no, they're not. Massive volatility, massive uncertainty. The only thing holding this thing together right now is that cash market. Obviously, numbers are tight, and there's enough demand out there to push these cash markets higher. If we ever see a little bit of a blip there, look out below in the cattle market, because there's a lot of fund linked out there, all riding on the heels of continuing consumer demand and continuing cash market strength. Not saying you can't see that, but the 1 or 2 weeks we don't, there could be a big air pocket below us.
I doubt Chip grills on gas, but let's use that as a segue into WTI. We're still trading above that 100 level. We just don't have the wide swings here. Final thoughts in the energies?
Yeah, I think to your point, I think that President Trump was waiting until after this Chinese meeting and what they talk about as far as China and the Strait of Hormuz. I think that we'll see some clarity there probably next week. We're either going to bomb them, we're going to keep the blockade going. Crude oil is not going to sit here at 100. It's either going to be on its way to 120 or back to 75, probably sooner rather than later. Don't fade that move.
Okay, and we'll wrap it up looking at the complex RBOB, gasoline. We've gained 67% year over year. We are lower across the board here. Nat gas, it's the one that's actually in the red year over year. We're down 17%, though we are higher across the board. And finally, the one we've really had an eye on, it's the leader here in the energy sector, moving higher year over year. That's diesel. We are lower across the board. Chip Nellinger, Blue Reef Agri Marketing, joining us from Morton, Illinois.